What's going on, guys? Asian Guy here today, wanting to discuss which day you should be pulling on for the One Piece Treasure Cruise 3-year Global Sugofest anniversary. We have got one of the hypest legend Sugofest. Legend Lucy has arrived on Global. He is the god of the game right now. Even on Japan, he is still crushing every single bit of content. No sweat whatsoever, and he is an incredibly future-proof unit. So if you ever had any doubts, this is the Sugofest you should be pulling on, because this is a fantastic chance to get yourself a Legend Lucy. Now, part 1, part 2, and part 3, courtesy of Goldfisher right here. Beautiful infographic, or I should say, a beautiful visualization of what the rated up units are on every single part. If I say day 1, day 2, day 3, I mean part 1, part 2, part 3, and I do apologize if I make that mistake. So part 1, part 2, and part 3, all of them have fantastic rated up units, especially legend wise. They've balanced it out a lot with the bad units and the bad legends, I should say, the bad units, as well as the good units and the good legends. On all of the days, it's pretty balanced. Now, a lot of people are saying that part 3 is the worst part, but I think, for me personally, part 1 is probably the worst day to pull on, and they have juiced up part 1 to counter that out with the 6th multiple being a guaranteed 6 plus V2 legend lore, who is a fantastic unit. The 2nd multiple being a guaranteed legend, of which Lucy is in that pool. He is extremely lowly rated on that, but there is still a chance to get him on that +1 post on the 2nd multiple. But the other legends in there are basically the equivalent of all the free legends that are being offered to you in the mail right now, aside from someone that I forget who, but he has been swapped out with Jinbei. Now, Jinbei is obviously a garbage tier legend as of now. I'm sorry, Jinbei fanboys, but let's be real. A 2.75 times attack multiplier, which is conditional based on your HP, is one of the worst captain abilities in the game. You get rare recruits, which are better than that nowadays on the Japan server. So right now, Jinbei, if you get him, it's a no bueno, it's donezo, he's terrible. Now, part 1, the 9th multiple. This is where I want to talk about, guys, is that which day you pull on, it's very important to understand the limitations of your box, the limitations of what you can currently clear and what you could clear depending on what you pull. Now, if your box is empty and you have enough to do 9 multiples, I know this is a very, very broad generalization, but this is to just get it out there, flat out, which day I think is the best. Part 2 is by far, in my opinion, the best day to put on. If your box is empty, if you're re-rolling and for some reason you're able to do 9 multiples, part 2 is by far the best. But now I know that is not the case for most people, which is why this video may be longer than I anticipated and longer than what I want it to be. But the too long didn't read, the TLDR of this video is part 2 is most likely going to be the best for most people, because of just simply having a lot of newer legends, a lot of hype legends, just very powerful captains all around in part 2. But let's begin with part 1. Now, part 1, most people are not going to be able to resist, because everyone wants to pull straight away as soon as the Sugofest starts, and they have made it very juicy. The very first multiple, no gimmicks. The 2nd multiple, guaranteed legend. From a pool of very old legends, not fantastic legends, but Lucy is in there at a low rate. There's still a chance of getting Lucy on that +1 on the 2nd multiple. The 3rd multiple is a guaranteed legend, not necessarily rated up, just a guaranteed legend. And the 4th, nothing special. The 5th, nothing special. The 6th multiple, 6 plus V2 lore, which is very, very hype. He's a fantastic unit. 3 times attack multiplier for cerebral units. I have to say though, 3 times attack is not that amazing. In around 3 or 4 months time on Global, 3 times attack will be below average. On Japan, it is currently below average, 3 times attack. Who thought that 3 times attack would actually be below average? But you know, that's just how it is. That's power creep for you guys. But he still is a fantastic unit. If you rock Neptune a lot, Neptune teams a lot for fortnights, you're definitely going to want to have this 6 plus lore. His special is very good on a Neptune team, especially if you're using Kinemon with it as well. Now, actually, if he's a striker, I take it back. He's not that useful. However, having said that, the 9th multiple will guarantee you one of the following legends with max special. You've got Lucy, Legend Enel, Legend Sanji, and Time Skip Luffy, Time Skip Zoro. Honestly speaking, if you're doing 9 multiples, day 1, the 9th multi is the worst. It is by far the worst, simply because Legend Enel, really not that useful. He's not a good legend in my opinion. He's below average at this day and age in Japan. Time skip Luffy, he's good, but he's, I would say, above average. Time skip Zoro, he has got his 6+ now. With his 6+, I would say he's also above average. As I said, a 3x attack multiplier. Not that amazing anymore, but he is very tanky and very easy to use. And Legend Sanji, very tanky, very easy to use, however very tedious to use, so you rarely see people using him anymore, which is a shame because I really like Legend Sanji. I think he's amazing as a sailor unit and of course as a captain, but he is, honestly speaking, a little bit outdated. And of course you've got Lucy. If you pull Lucy, you're set for the rest of the next maybe 2 years on One Piece Treasure Cruise. Now part 2. Before we go into part 2, actually, I want to speak about the rare recruits on part 1. Of course, you've got the Dressrosa batch. All of them are rated up, so you might as well ignore that part. The other units that I would say that are notable on this, that are honestly used frequently on Japan, Time Skip Sanji, and most notably Time Skip Nami. If you don't have Time Skip Nami, she is a super useful unit. Even today, super useful. Yesterday, I was literally using her yesterday for Pedro Coliseum. So, you know, Time Skip Nami, if you don't have her, she is useful for so much endgame content. Her special being a delay, remover of paralysis, and also special silence. It's just so useful to have her, especially because strikers are still to this day on Japan the #1 class by an absolute mile, probably followed by Cerebral and Powerhouse. But Time Skip Nami, if you don't have her, you will have to consider going in on part 1. But you know, the 3 anniversary last time on Japan, the Time Skip Straw Hats, when they said they were rated up, they were really rated up. So believe it when it says it. You will probably get her in the first multiple or the second multiple if you do go for part 1. But that aside, let's move on to part 2. Now this is the juiciest day for me because it has all the best legends in terms of captain ability. You've got Lucy, V2 Law, V2 Lucci, V2 Boa Hancock, you've got Akainu, you've got Kuzan, who's 6+ is insane as a captain and also as a sailor unit. You've got Nekomamushi, and I'm just looking around here because I have the infographic here. If you guys want to see, this is what it looks like for me. This is my tripod, by the way, guys. Not necessarily tripod, it's like my camera stand. I put my camera on top of here and then I have the camera facing down, but I have the visuals here. Thank you very much to Goldfisher for that. If I didn't credit you earlier for that, I do apologize. So yeah, we also have on there Crocodile. Crocodile, probably not going to get a 6+ for a while on Global, but when it does come, he becomes a decent unit, a decent captain for Cerebral units. Not amazing, not bad either, but his special becomes superb. 20% HP cut and 2x attack boost to Cerebral, and he becomes a strength unit, so that's very useful. Int Mihawk, and of course Legend Marco as well. Now Legend Marco, he has a very high cooldown, but when he does get limit break, I think that will go down. If he does get a 6+, I think it will go down as well. Legend Marco is still quite useful, and Legend Mihawk not useful in his normal 6-star form because of his really high cooldown, and he is also available as a free option from the Legend Pool or the Legend Mail that has been given out on Global already. But I highly recommend you keep that until after you've done your SugoFest pulls. Don't do what I did and pick it and then you're going to regret it later because you pull that legend. Now 6+ Mihawk, still very useful on Japan as well. Now the rated up units on this day, the rare recruits, in my opinion, are by far the best because Striker and Powerhouse units are simply the best, no contest right now. Striker Powerhouse class, that mixed duo of classes, is a superb class as it is right now. Striker on their own, very powerful. Powerhouse, very powerful as well. Second best class, joint with Cerebral, in my opinion. That's my give and take on it. Now I'm just looking again. We have got Boa Sandersonia and Boa Marigold, the dream duos, rated up. Now I have to say, Boa Marigold is seeing a lot less use these days on Japan, but Boa Sandersonia still to this day is a super unit. Now if you can assemble this team off the top of my head, Legend Lucy as your captains, V2 Law, doesn't have to be V2 Law, but having V2 Law does help a lot. The Striker version, the Striker or Booster version, so the unevolved version of V2 Law, and also Boa Sandersonia, Kanjuro, and any filler unit, you're set. You're basically set because this team will stomp through pretty much all content in the game. Kuzan 6+, that's the one I'm thinking. So Legend Lucy, 6+ Kuzan, V2 Legend Law, Boa Sandersonia and Kanjuro. This team is like the dream Striker team which stomps basically everything. It stomps everything with no problems, honestly, and you can switch out utility units here and there for like Kuzan or whatever, Kanjuro, whatever it is that you need specifically, but super good team. It's my default Lucy team, and pretty much whenever I go into any new Coliseum that comes, I use that team and I go in blind, and most of the time, 95% of the time, no problems whatsoever. Now, the other rated up units on here, I believe, if I can see properly, Don Chinjiao is one, very good unit. We also have Mancherry, Raizo, and of course Kanjuro. So we have Mancherry, Raizo, and Kanjuro, all very useful units. Mancherry, superb striker unit as well. Is she a striker? She's a free spirit. I believe she is a striker as well. Very useful unit. Amazing utility, amazing healing power as well. Kanjuro, I cannot express how powerful Kanjuro is. 2.75 times chain lock for striker units. Removes Bind and Despair by 5 turns. You don't want to mess. And its sale ability makes Dex Orbs count as matching for strikers. So if you have Nekomamushi and you don't have Kanjuro, you want to put on this day. I know Nekomamushi is rated up, but you just want to put on this day. I also should mention that the first multiple will guarantee you Kimono Vivi, who I don't think is that useful. Some other people like her, but I don't think she's that useful. Kimono Rouge, I think, is the second multiple guaranteed on the +1. Kimono Rouge is an amazing orb manipulator for striker powerhouse units, and he has the same captain ability as Neptune in the 1.5 times EXP boost, but he has a much lower multiplier for attack. I believe it's 1.75 times attack boost to striker and powerhouse, which is not that great, honestly speaking, but if you don't have Neptune and you really want an EXP boosting captain, then Uruj is your go-to guy, if I'm speaking honestly. But let's hope, fingers crossed, if you don't have Neptune, that you do pull Neptune, because he is, in my opinion, basically a legend tier unit. You're going to use him more than any other unit on the game if you like farming Fortnite. So that's me personally. I really like maxing my Fortnite units. Neptune, always the go-to unit. If I can use Neptune, I will always use Neptune. But yeah, I think that's about it. Raizo, actually. Raizo, very useful for late game content. He is, I think, a very underrated unit, but he's a utility unit that goes on Lucy teams. It's always the Lucy teams in the future content. Lucy will crush everything if you have Raizo. It basically, he is the guy that deals with special silence and I believe paralysis. If I might be mistaken on that, but special silence, Raizo is the guy that deals with it for Lucy strength teams, any other strength teams, Akainu as well, and also Free Spirit as well. So you do want to have Raizo there in your roster, in your box. Very useful unit. And of course, the Ninth Multiple, this is the most important part. If you have enough for 9 multis, then definitely this is the best one to put on, because the worst legend you can put on the Ninth Multiple on day 2 is V2 Boa Hancock. And when V2 Boa Hancock, the best shooter legend in the game, is the worst legend you can put on 5 units, you have got yourself a good deal there. You've got Lucy, V2 Legend Lucci, V2 Legend Lord, Nekomamushi, and V2 Boa. Honestly, all of them are fantastic units. V2 Boa is substantially worse than these 4 other units, but saying that, she's not bad at all. She's just the worst of the best, if that makes sense to you guys. V2 Lucci, incredibly underrated powerhouse legend captain, incredibly underrated legend. Overall, I have to say he is, in my opinion, a top 10 legend. There are almost 40 legends in the game. He is in top quartile. Very underrated. If you have him, you already know how amazing he is. If you have him and you're not using him, you're sleeping on him. Honestly, I don't have him. I really want him because I think he's superb. Legend lore, still fantastic, more so as a sub today than a captain, but he is still a useful captain if you don't have any other striker captains. And of course, Nekomamushi, 3.75 times, maybe 3.9 times multiplier. Something disgusting when you have matching, when you have colored orbs, beg your pardon. But yeah, Nekomamushi, fantastic as well. But if you have Nekomamushi already, you may want to consider looking at part 3 if you have 9 multiples. But 9 multiples, I'm guessing most people don't have. If your box is empty, you're new to the game, or you're just re-rolling, part 2 is by far the best day. Hands down, the best day to re-roll on, to pull on, because the captains are just so overwhelmingly good. If you have the rare recruits as well, it might be tough because there are some good rare recruits in there. But do keep in mind, if you already have the Boa-san, the Sonia sisters, they come with limit break, guys. So if you do pull them again, just hold on to them. The limit break is useful. It's honestly useful. So hold on to them. It's not a waste if you pull dupes of them. I know some people will be like, but Rayleigh points aren't everything, guys. They are good, but you are getting the Koala event, which is going to give you just shy of 18,000 Rayleigh points, I believe. So do keep that in mind. You are going to be getting over 10,000 Rayleigh points for free. If you don't know how that works, when you get the Koalas, guys, for free from the Chopper Man missions, do not feed them to the Koala, because she's rubbish. She's a rubbish unit. Sell them to the Rayleigh shop for 300 Rayleigh points. So part 2, if you have 3 multiples, guaranteed Vivi. She's got her uses, not amazing. Guaranteed Rouge, who I think is a very useful unit. And yeah, and you got your free legend on the 3rd multiple, not necessarily guaranteed to be anyone. 6th multiple, also guaranteed legend as well, but not a specific unit at all. Now part 3 is very similar to what we had on the actual Japan server 3 anniversary. You have got Anniversary Boa Hancock and Anniversary Shanks. Now when they were released on Japan, they were fantastic units, but to this day, I don't see anybody using them anymore. Boa Hancock, a 1.75 times class booster and healer for fighter and free spirit units for both teams. And I think she's useful. 5 sockets, int typing, pretty good as well. If you have G4 Luffy, she is, I would say, quite an important unit to have. Shanks, he is, I can't remember his 2nd typing, maybe it's free spirit, maybe it's cerebral, but he is a slasher and he heals for 50% of your HP. Blue, he is quick type and he will change your bottom row orbs into matching. He is a very, very good unit as well. But people don't use slashes anymore. And you've got Kizaru, of course, that changes orbs into matching and also heals as well. And you've also got the V2 Fujitora if you use him as a captain. Basically makes Shanks redundant. I rarely see the Shanks used anymore, but he is still useful. If you're a double Shiryu user like I used to be, I'm clean of the double Shiryu life now. But if you do use double Shiryu, this Shanks is a must-have unit. He is a super unit for double Shiryu teams. Now this day, the 9th multiple, the rated up units, if I can see, Lucy, Magellan, Ino Arashi, God Usopp, and Shirahoshi. 3 of which are arguably the best legend subs in the game. Ino Arashi, very, very good as a cerebral captain, and also just as a unit to have on your team. Lucy teams, slasher teams, cerebral teams, rainbow teams, his special is very, very good. It gives you like an additional 1.1 million damage with attack con and candy. When he gets limit break, I can imagine that's going to be around 1.4 million damage, 1.5 million damage. Very good on zombie teams, very good on Neptune teams. He, in my opinion, is honestly a must-have unit, and I believe for some reason on Global, he is one of the lowest rated legends on every single SugoFest. Not sure why that is, but I would say he's really good to have. Usopp. God Usopp. His unevolved version, I rarely see him used outside of Forest, but his evolved version is very underrated. His super evolved 6+ God Usopp penetrates delay protection and gives you that 1 extra turn. I use him a lot. He goes on my Lucy team as well. I have 2 Lucy teams, one which is just rare recruits and of course Legend Kuzan and Legend Law. And the other one is one which has Colosseum Lucy, Legend 6+ Usopp, and Legend Dofi, and also Legend Kuzan 6+, and that team stomps everything as well. It's a very, very safe team. His Seiya ability also gets rid of blindness as well. I think Usopp, honestly speaking, is a really, really underrated legend. The 6+, not enough people use him. You want to go into Colosseums blind, you want to go into content blind, bringing him is a really big safeguard to any teams that you have. Of course, if you're not lazy and you do look at guides and you look very in-depth and construct your teams very carefully without being brain dead like me, then he's not as useful. Now, Shirahoshi, if you're watching my content, if you've been watching my content for a long time, you know that for me, she is the best legend sub in the game, hands down, no contest. She is a game-breaking mechanic. She has orbs which cannot be shuffled away, and she heals with limit break over 70,000 HP. She is disgustingly overpowered for a legend sub, and even as a captain, I have to say, she's pretty good. She's a pretty good captain. She can clear a lot of stuff. She's a very safe captain. She's a bit slower. She's not the raw power smash through everything. She's a more conserved, take your time, be patient, and then bam, you just destroy everything with your specials, slowly whittle them down, and then you just kill them off. If you have Legend and Nell, she is a superb captain. But yeah, Legend, Shirahoshi, I would put her in my top 5 legends overall, as an overall package, as one of those legends who both functions as a captain and a rare recruit. As a rare recruit, as a sailor unit. I'm getting tired, guys. This video has exceeded 20 minutes. I do apologize. So yeah, part 3, the rare recruits, I have to say, are probably the worst of the batch. I cannot see them right now, so I am going to hold my camera up here. Of this batch, I would say Bonclay has his uses. Dex Lucci is a superb unit. Very good sub. Very useful on many teams. Slashers, fighters. He also is good on Blackbeard teams, and just having that Sailor ability, which is like Sabo's ability of giving you additional damage on your taps, it's useful. It's useful for like even buggy teams as well. He has his uses. Neptune team's very good as well. Timeskip Robin, superb unit as well. You've also got Mr. Zero in the wake of an endless dream, I believe he's called, or something like that. Crocodile, basically a good unit as well. But other than that, I would not say the other units are that useful. Their Timeskip Brook, actually I take it back, is a very good unit to have as well. But other than that, the other units, I rarely see them used, so don't worry too much about them. Jinbei, Annie Vankov, I believe, were useful for like one Kai raid, and that was about it, and then I never see them used again, so don't worry too much about that. As for the rated up legends, Magellan, superb. Ino Arashi, superb. You've got Usopp, as I said, superb. Shirahoshi, who is superb. Psylor, who I think is going to become more useful in the future, because I think after the release of Doflamingo V2, they are planning to release more content which has barriers, and they already shown that with some of the most recent content which has barriers. Even the Fortnite currently live on Japan has barriers. I am using Psylor on my Neptune team. Psylor goes down to a 10-turn cooldown, by the way, when he limit breaks. He is a good unit now. Not a super unit, but he's a useful unit. And of course, Legend Dofi, still very much relevant. I have to say, Hody Jones, 6+, one of the best 6+ evolutions in the game, one of the best captains in the game if you have a team for him. For speed farming, you're going to be using him a lot. Treasure map, I see him used all the time. And of course, just in general, new content, if you want to speed farm it, 6+ Hody, one of the best legends in the game. Haters come at me, people who are like, 6+ Lucci is amazing. No, 6+ Legend Hody buries him in the dirt. 6+ Legend Hody, one of the best captains along with V2 Lucci for your powerhouse teams, especially after the Zunisha ship is released. You've also got Rayleigh there, who is also useful as a 6+ unit, very good for utility, but you can also pick him as your free unit. Whitebeard, completely outdated now. His cooldown is too high, his captain ability is useless. On Japan, V2 Rayleigh has basically rendered him completely useless, other than as a HP cutter for strength teams or Lucy teams or whatever striker teams. But more often than not, you really don't need him anymore. Sabo, if you do need him, free legend pool, free legend mail, he's there as well. But yeah, V2 Dofi, very good. Kizaru and Cavendish, I have to say, both are extremely outdated now. If you pull them on global, they have their uses, but you're rarely going to be using them. For example, if you pull any of the first 5 legends on this chart over here. So if you pull any of those, you really won't be using Cavendish or Kizaru. So there's that. And that's pretty much it, guys. That is the summary of everything. If you have an empty box, part 2 is the way to go. If you want the cerebral lore, 6+ lore, or you just want a V2 lore overall, and you have 6 multiples worth saved up, part 1 is very good. But I have to say, part 1, the legends, I didn't actually mention them. Lucy is great. Legend Sanji is good. Timeskip Luffy is good. Timeskip Zoro is good. Buggy, if you don't have him, one of the best legends in the game, simply by the fact that you're going to be using him almost all the time. Whenever any content that is buggyable comes out, he is your go-to captain. And I have to say, one of the most underrated features for how good a captain is how often you use them. How good a legend is how often you use them. You've got to keep that in consideration. A legend Buggy, for me anyway, is one of the most used legends in the game. So there's that. Blackbeard as well. If you pull Blackbeard, you can use Blackbeard to leech off your Legend Lucy friend, so Blackbeard is always good to have as well. Bartolomeo, not that useful until he gets a 6+. His 6+ is still average at best in my opinion. Fujitora, he's okay now that Legend Dofi V2 has come out. A lot of people use Fujitora to leech off Legend Dofi V2. Corazon, practically useless. Strongworld Ace, not that useful either until a 6+. Shanks, garbage legend, one of the worst. Legend Lucci, even a lot of people like his 6+, but I have to say, in my opinion, he's garbage. and 6 plus Boa Hancock garbage as well. And there's that. So yeah, part 1. I just can't see any reason why, if you have an empty box, you will not put on part 2, because part 2 so far for global will be future proof for up till, I would say, around 6 to 12 months. Whereas part 3, part 1, those units become outdated. They might already be outdated on global, but they will become outdated very, very fast. But every single day has the Dressrosa batch. Pretty useful units. Jesus Burgess, if you do have God Usopp, goes very well together with the 6 plus version. But yeah, I think I've covered everything I wanted to say. In my opinion, part 2 is the best day to put on. I'm so sorry this video is so long, but thank you guys for watching. I hope it was useful to you guys. Japan players, if you're still watching, do leave your opinions in the comment section down below. Recommendations for your fellow global brethren. Help them out. Tell them what is good in the future. For me, part 2, almost all the legends on there are going to be useful, other than saying, I mean, people meme on Sengoku as the worst legend, but I honestly think the Fortnite units are improving. Sengoku is going to have his use in the future. Mark my words, Sengoku will be better in the future. Log Luffy and Jinbei, 2 massive memes. Log Luffy, I have to say, I don't see him ever getting a 6 plus, so I think he's going to stay relatively useless. Jinbei, very likely to get a 6 plus soon, guys. If you're following the anime or the manga, Jinbei won't be meme bay for long. So fingers crossed. But yeah, part 2, I think is fantastic to pull on. All the rare recruits that are useful, a lot of them are still useful. In fact, all of them are still useful. Even Abdullah and Jeet has their uses. They have their uses. So thank you guys for watching. This will be the actual thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Good luck on your SugoFest pulls. If you're wondering if I am doing SugoFest pulls, I will be. And I will try to stream those global SugoFest pulls. I have 5 multiples. Gonna try and get to 300 gems. But yeah, that is that, guys. Goodbye. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.